The proposed legal practitioners bill. Mr. Sharma, to come back to you, the term legal profession is sought to be defined in the proposed act. Anything wrong with that?
No, there is no wrong, but there are certain legislation for that. It will be again an infringement of right of an advocate. In advocates, the term advocate has been defined. Now what will happen, an illiterate person, he is put beside me, he doesn't know the law. Reputation, my reputation will be at stake, not his. So that's not fair. For them, separate legislation may be made, but they can't be termed as legal practitioner under any circumstances. A man who doesn't know ABCs of law, he is standing beside me. So how we can term him as a legal practitioner?
Right. Mr. Yadav, there is also opposition to the appointment of a High Court judge as an ombudsman. Is there anything wrong with that?
No, as far as the appointment of ombudsman is concerned, I think we are totally opposed to enactment of the bill itself.
Right.
So why the question of appointment of ombudsman man? I say when there is a complete procedure defined in the act itself, there is no need of enactment of such legislation. Why I say so? There is section 34 in the Advocates Act of 1961. It says that the High Court can have its own rules to regulate the conduct of lawyers practicing in High Court as well as in subordinate courts. So there are teeth, there are mechanisms, provided they are evolved and put to use. So there is no need of such enactments. I would say there is no need of appointment in ombudsman. Now, if ombudsman is appointed at the state level, a retired a person having qualifications of a district judge, that will be at the state level. Person having qualification to be appointed on the post of a High Court judge, that would be an ombudsman at the head office. Now, as far as this new act is concerned, there is no role defined for an ombudsman to be appointed in the head office. It is only basically the state bar councils are being stripped of their normal activities which is being performed under the act. It is the retired district judge, person having any qualification, not retired only, a person having qualification of a district judge can be appointed as ombudsman. Now, if we go by the functions defined in the proposed bill, that is, he will have the complaint, scrutinize it, put the parties to evidence, then the evidence. Judgment. Now he will complete the complete procedure and then he will send it to the bar council. Now bar council has primarily nothing to do. It is only required to give its comments if it doesn't agree with the finding of the ombudsman. So
in a way, it will only the bar council will be used to endorse whatever is
the use of. If we don't agree with that, then they say the ombudsman or the legal services board will have a right to go to the High Court.
Right, Mr. Gyani, your views on both these things, the definition of the legal profession and on the appointment of the ombudsman.
Okay, let me start in the reverse order. One, I agree completely with Mr. Sharma, Mr. Yadav. We have enough resources, enough law already to take care of all the problems that we are facing. We just need to use them. Yes, that's one. Two, when you start redefining terms, you have the definition of an advocate or a legal practitioner in the Advocates Act. You're trying to do that again. You're reinventing the wheel. Now, since the wording is different in both the statute, you will have loopholes. And when you have loopholes, the people that you are trying to benefit at the end of the day, they suffer. Again, take one more thing. Let's say that there is a litigant, he is genuinely disgusted with what his lawyer is doing. He goes, he files a case before the ombudsman, all right? He files a complaint. Do you think he's going to go and represent himself there? Because there, the standard is whether the lawyer did his job properly or not. Therefore, it has to be of a very high standard. The litigant will go engage another lawyer to present his complaint before the ombudsman. The lawyer will engage another lawyer to go and do that, and again the complaint comes back to the bar council. The bar council follows the procedure of the Advocates Act. What you are doing is not benefiting the consumer. I don't like the word consumer. Client is a dignified term, consumer is a horrible term. I don't like it in the legal context, but you are not benefiting the consumer. What you are doing is you are creating a screening mechanism. Very few people are going to be able to pass through that. Therefore, in the guise of helping the litigants, you are actually taking away a huge number of their rights, and at the same time you are saying the lawyers need to be muzzled, let's muzzle them once and for all.
Now, Mr. Gyani, the Bar Council is saying that the existing structure under the Advocates Act needs to be strengthened.
Yes.
So you also agree with that?
I will not completely agree with that. I would say it is already strong enough. We need to strengthen the kind of people that we are sending up, electing to the Bar Council. That is more important than strengthening the structure. The structure is very
But that
solid.
is something that the advocates themselves have to do.
Absolutely. It's a peer regulated
In
thing.
fact, this is exhaustive at statute. Remedies are exhaustive, procedure is exhaustive, everything is there. There is no loophole in the statute itself. It provides for all these things, provisions are covered. Then what government is doing, pick and choose. They have picked the Advocates Act. Why not they do it for the appointment of judges? If they are drawing model from the Great Britain, there a layman appoints the judges. There a layman is responsible for taking action against them. Why don't they do that for them? They are just picking for.
But if we were to talk about the Advocates Act, and when you say that the existing structure under the Advocates Act needs to be strengthened, what do you have in mind?
No, in fact, strengthening means that just
implementation.
Its implementation should be there, and the bar councils are have enough powers to do it, and they are more competent to do it.
I'll put it in very simple terms.
Yes.
The Indian democracy is strong enough to meet any challenges. It's just that we've been unlucky in the kind of people we've been sending to Parliament. I am quite sure that if we were to send you to Parliament, you would be a wonderful Prime Minister. Unfortunately, you don't want to contest the elections. That is the whole problem.
At least hearing it is music to one's ears. It may or may not happen.
But the problem is that since we are not inclined to go to Parliament, we are deprived of the true functioning of the institution. The Bar Council is a brilliant organization. If we send the right people.
Bar Council is a brilliant organization. Ms. Dillo, is the Bar Council doing enough to check the unethical practices of the advocates?
Well, I have not associated with them so much, but if they become a good body, I'm sure they can.
But what is the general impression that you get as a
in the High Court name, I'm talking. I have
what
never
about the district
had
courts?
the
Now let's
chance.
talk about the district courts. What's the general impression that you get about the functioning of the advocates and the Bar Council in general?
Bar Council, I have not associated. I haven't
The advocates
had,
in general.
So the advocates in general, I think they need someone to control that. And if
that's a very powerful statement that she's made, and since she knows she's on camera, she's being very careful. But when she says that definitely there is need to control the advocates.
No, that why I say the controlling power is already there in the.
Apparently, it is ineffective.
Apparently,
Mr.
no,
Yadav.
it is not based
Apparently
on
maybe,
facts.
but now efforts are
If
being
some-
taken.
now
Constant efforts are
we
being
need to-
taken.
we need to
Mr.
have-
Yadav, as just you will find that on 1st November there will be election throughout the states of Punjab and of all the bar associations. It means that the persons who are unwanted in the profession, they won't be able to now control the offices of the bar.
Now, Mr. Sharma,
And
is
it
that
will go
happening
along
because
with-
a new act is coming about?
No. Already,
It
we had already
was
decided it.
long prior to it.
We
have already
certain
got
measures
rules.
are being taken by the State Bar Council.
It has nothing to do with the new act.
But this new act comer will have a lot of loopholes and loose ends.
So basically,
and it will cause a problem because you see, you are going from one bar council, then you are going again. And
There's going to be a
another-
plethora of
another
bodies that you
yes,
have to,
it
that you
will
have
be
to
too
change,
much,
right?
you know, to control. And let's not forget that you are appointing retired judges. Going to do
Not much hope on the retired judges, is it?
That's a brilliant comment on retired judges. A litigant speech.
Since we don't have a judge here, I think it's not wise to continue with the discussion. But a couple of other issues. Now, Mr. Gyani, there is another proposal to have an All India Bar Council examination.
Yep.
Do you think it's a good thing?
It is long overdue. We have every kind of person just giving an exam, or in cases not even giving an exam, getting a license just on the asking. Do you know there is a Tatkal scheme in our Bar Council which says, get a law degree in the morning, instead of paying the usual fee, pay an excessive amount of fee, and you will get your license on the same day.
But I thought one has heard of a Tatkal ticket.
This
Do
is
you have
this is a
scheme in the Bar Council?
we don't
May-
follow
may-
that
may-
scheme,
may-
but the one can have it on the same day.
May I just finish what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
In the morning at 10 o'clock, your result is declared saying that you've passed all your semesters, you are now a law graduate. You go to the office of the Bar Council at 10:30, give them the Tatkal fee. At 12 o'clock, they'll give you your license. I'm speaking obviously, I'm
Yes.
taking some license with the facts, but it happens the same day. Take the Shatabdi, go to Delhi, and you could be appearing in the Supreme Court as a lawyer at 3 o'clock that same afternoon. That's the kind of lack of, any kind of sense we have in the current system. You need a system, you need an exam where all the different law colleges, all the different universities are able to actually not just churn out law graduates.
But Mr.
lawyers.
Yadav, why is this being opposed then by a lot of people?
No, exactly. What is
No,
the
the All India Bar exam.
No, as far as the conduct of the bar, All India Bar exam is concerned, now let me put it that we in 1997 had introduced a training program of 1 year. Person who wanted to be enrolled as an advocate was required to undergo that training with some advocate already enrolled. Now that was challenged in the Supreme Court of India. That was enactment was stuck aside, saying that the person unless enrolled as an advocate, the Bar Council doesn't come into picture. Once somebody is enrolled as an advocate, only then the Bar Council comes into picture.
Okay.
Now we had in mind to introduce some mechanism to train the people who are just coming from the colleges so that before entering their profession, they are given.
So that is why
we as the State Bar Council of Punjab and Haryana, we oppose the way the examination is being conducted. Now, what we have proposed is the examination should be there, but not in the way it is being now introduced. We propose that there should be an examination regarding the practical aspect of the training of the lawyers. They should be equipped with the procedural aspect, how the cases are to be presented, how the cases are to be drafted, how they are to argue the cases.
Right, Mr. Sharma, the sense I get from Mr. Yadav is that instead of an exam of this kind, perhaps it is better to have some kind of a training program.
Yes.
Training program, and which will be more effective, and apart from the method in which it was thrust upon the candidates, that was highly objectionable. More was objection to the method. Then in some inter-functioning, I hope Mr. Yadav won't mind it, that the Bar Council taking all these things in their hands, not taking the state bar councils into confidence. Otherwise, instead of this examination, we need to strengthen the studies and experience, imparting experience to the candidates at the students level, which we are lacking too much.
Right, Ms. Dhillon, I know you're not from the legal fraternity, but broadly, what do you think? Should there be an examination for people entering the legal profession? What's the general sense there? As of now, the sense one gets is that anybody and everybody who passes the LLB gets into the
No, but
profession.
they come through a proper college, no, law college.
No, madam, as far as the education is concerned, yes, they possess it.
But
and
then
that is the reason we say this proposed enactment is not desired. Why we say so is, advocates, when they are enrolled, they have a particular qualification of law, they know the procedure, how the case is to be presented in the court. That saves the time of the courts also. A person who doesn't know the procedural law, if he is allowed to appear in the court in person.
But he needs some further training before he moves into the profession.
That can solve a lot of problems.
Right, now we are running out of time. Harpreet, quick comment on one or two things. Now there is also a proposal, it's not a part of the act, but there is a general talk of should foreign firms be allowed into the country?
That is
they absolutely should be allowed. We will see a time when they will be allowed. It will have to be done in a phased manner. It will have to be done on a reciprocal basis. But it's inevitable, it will happen.
Mr. Sharma, should those with foreign qualifications be allowed to practice in the country, possibly on a reciprocal basis?
Not at all, not even on reciprocal basis, because we feel we are lagging behind them so far as competition is concerned, and I hope there is no need for that, because here the lawyers are even more competent than the lawyers from foreign countries. They can well handle the things. It will be an inroad in the sovereignty of this country.
Mr. Yadav, last comment from you.
Please. We feel that this enactment has one underlying idea to get the foreign firms into India. That is one of the basic ideas to enact this legislation.
But it doesn't find mention in the act.
It doesn't find mention. That finds mention in section 35. When it takes care of defining a legal practitioner, it introduces number of persons who are not legally qualified persons. The firms, they may be having different persons on the panel, a person dealing with trademarks, person dealing with income tax. In income tax, person may not be a law graduate. He can still practice on the income tax or sales tax side. This enactment is totally to curb the free expression of the lawyers. Basically, it provides that they will also be burdened with 25 rupees per vakalatnama, which cannot be used for their welfare. Under the Advocates Act, we have a system, we can have the welfare schemes. Now, if such system is allowed to operate, the advocates will be overburdened and curbed.
But in that case, if some kind of a system needs to be brought about, it has to be a different system, not the way it is being brought about.
It is already there. It is already there. They can strengthen it more.
Well, one is not sure if the provisions are already there, because there is a lot that still needs to be done. Thank you very much for joining us in the discussion. There is no doubt that the legal fraternity, which is growing, needs greater regulation than at present. However, whether this should be done by restructuring the existing Advocates Act or through the proposed Legal Practitioners Act is a subject of wider debate and discussion. But it is in the interest of the lawyers themselves that the clients are not shortchanged, as it is happening at present. With that, we end this edition of Prime. We meet again tomorrow with another issue. Till then, good luck and goodbye.